So today I'll be showing you the operation of the Ivss system. The Ivss system is an inline style sample system that is typically installed into a process pipeline. Ideally, the valve can be designed to have a wafer style situated between two flanges, or an inline style that comes with the flanges to be mounted between two existing flanges. In this demonstration, I'll be showing you the operation of the Ivss, filling an actual live sample into a glass sample bottle using needle technology similar to the grab samples that sensor sampling typically provides. The operator simply installs the sample bottle up inside of the shroud and installs the strap underneath the bottle, which secures the bottle in place during operation as the bottle fills. Once that is done, the operator can withdraw the pin that locks the handle in place if the pin is already being used. If not, they simply can just go ahead. The operator simply draws the handle back towards them and allows the sample to enter the bottle. Now you'll notice here I have the flow going in at a nice pace. However, if the operator has a smaller bottle and wants to restrict the flow, the handle can be brought back only slightly to allow for a small drip, or fully back for a nice full process flow into the bottle. Once the operator has enough sample, they can simply let go of the handle. It will spring back and close off the sample from being filled. So as the operator is filling the sample bottle, the air that is in the bottle from the laboratory is being displaced out the vent connection. This vent connection can be tied into a flare line, it can be tied into a vapor recovery line, or it can just be piped away from the operator to a safe location so that they're not exposed to those vapors that are exiting the bottle as it fills. Again, once the handle is closed and let go, the valve shuts off and any vapors that would normally be coming out are now stopped. So once the operator has stopped the operation, they simply pull the bottle out and they'll notice that the septum is closed off and sealed up so that when the operator turns the bottle over, or if it falls over, there's nothing coming out, nor are there any vapors in the bottle that would be exposing the operator during transportation to the lab. So as you can see, when the shroud has been removed, you can see the process needle, which does the injecting of the sample into the bottle, as well as the vent needle, which is used to vent off the vapors as the bottle is being filled. These needles are very easily changeable by just removing a simple docking ring and pulling the needles out individually if needed to be replaced. Once the needles have been replaced, the shroud assembly can simply be threaded back on and the operator can begin to take samples immediately. And here is a different size shroud. So if an operator decided that, hey, we need to be sampling into smaller bottles going forward, they can simply replace the shroud assembly, as I've done here, put the new shroud assembly in place, and then install the smaller sample bottle. So when I pull the handle back, see how nice and quickly that bottle fills. However, if I did want to fill it much slower, because I was worried of it overfilling, I have the adjustment that you can see here, from a very small trickle and drip to a full flow into the bottle with the nice throttle control of the Ivss valve. So once the sample has been collected, again, the operator can simply pull the bottle out and it is sealed up with the septa self-healing itself when it's pulled off the needles. So one of the advantages of the Ivss is the ability to sample either with needles and a shroud, as we have on most of our typical grab sample systems, or to be able to sample into a thread-in lab media bottle. And in this particular case, I'll be showing you how easy it is to change over from the typical needles, in this case we have dual needles, to the Teflon needle adapter. So simply removing these two bolts here, I will be able to remove the needle adapter and install the thread-in bottle adapter. Once that is removed, the Teflon bottle adapter can be installed by simply putting it on the bottom of the adapter, clamping it in place with a typical tri-clover type of clamp, And once that is secured, I can move this vent to the appropriate location that I desire and then tighten the clamp and lock it in position. So once the adapter has been installed, the operator can simply take their lab media bottle, take the cap off, thread the bottle into place by hand until tight. Once that is tight, now the bottle is secured and sealed. Any vapors that come out during the filling will go out the vent connection, which I have positioned to the back of the assembly. So once the bottle has been installed and tightened into place by hand, the operator can simply pull back on the handle and allow the bottle to fill with sample. And again, in this particular case, just like with the needles, we can adjust the flow from a very small trickle into the bottle to a full flow and fill that bottle quickly as needed in order to get the sample done and move on to the next sample point. Once the sample bottle has been filled to the appropriate level, the handle can be released and the filling has stopped. Once the filling has stopped, the operator simply unthreads the bottle and places on a cap for transportation back to the lab. You'll notice here that once the cap is on, the bottle is sealed. The only difference between the needle technology and the thread-in bottle is that whenever the bottle has been removed, there is a small moment of time where the cap has to be placed on the bottle for transport. Once the bottle has been filled, if operations ever needs to lock out the valve or to ensure that someone will not open it during the time that they're not sampling, they can simply install this pin into place, and they can also use a lockable pin that we offer as well, to where if they ever needed to lock this valve out so that somebody could not operate it, they could also do that as well. And the nice thing is we can chain this pin to the system if they would like to have the pin removable and hang in order to ensure that somebody just doesn't walk along and open the valve at any time. And that simply just gets pushed into place, lock it in, and then the valve handle can't be moved or a sample cannot inadvertently be taken while that pin is in place. So one of the advantages of the sensor sampling IVSS design is the removable Teflon adapter that we have on here. This can be designed to fit various bottles. As you saw in the previous, we had a smaller bottle, but in this case, you can see we could also install this very large bottle if more sample was required. So the operator would simply thread that bottle in, pull out the pin, and can fill this bottle just as easy as the other bottle. And you can see how that's filling nice and evenly. And again, as I draw back on that handle, I can fill it a very small drip or a full flow if needed. And the bottle can be removed as before and have a cap placed on top for transportation to the lab without any exposure to the operator.